Hi, and thank you again for joining us with New England Veterans Liberty House, Veterans Serving Veterans. I want to briefly reiterate what I said last time. This year, we're going to try to do something a little different. I know last year we covered and we brought in a lot of other nonprofit organizations that provide supportive services to veterans, also some affiliations that we had with other organizations, but they're all good. Brought in Dr. Shen, who talked about very important topics such as combat PTSD and family combat PTSDs. We're not getting away from that this year. We are going to be bringing them back aboard, but we also want to go ahead this year and take the opportunity and really honor, really, to bring other nonprofit organizations with the Merrimack Valley that also are huge veteran supporters. Perfect example is our guest today, which is the Habitat for Humanity of Merrimack Valley. We're going to get a little bit into some of the initiatives that they're taking place here in the city of Lawrence, which is a phenomenal execution that's going to be happening here throughout 2016. But nonetheless, that's what we're going to try to do. So any of you out there that are watching and you know that you have someone that you know or an organization that you know that provides supportive services to our veterans, please send us your information or email us at j.torres@nevlh.org, or please feel free to go to our website at www.nevlh.org, and you can send us an email that way. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and present to you our guest today, Mr. Randy Larson.
Yes.
Sorry, I seen that D there. Larson, and he's the executive director for the Habitat Humanity Merrimack Valley area. Roxana Mota, and she is the family services coordinator. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with me for the, I'm giving you a warning, putting up with me for the next hour. I want to get to a little bit, I'm just going to go and talk about the About Us, but then you're going to go ahead and take it out from there and talk a little bit about Habitat in general, how it originated, then talk a little bit about yourself and your role in that. So I'm going to briefly just read this. Merrimack Valley Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit builder of affordable homes founded in 1985. I was just graduating from the Greater Lawrence Vocational School. And it was just originated, really, there's an individual he's going to talk about, but I guess local citizens were getting together and realized the need. Really. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And first, let's mention the young lady's name that, really was the catalyst, really, of putting Habitat for Humanity together. So please, Randy.
Well, back in 1985, a lady named Margot Bixby and her husband George in Andover were trying to help their daughter find a place to live here in Lawrence. An apartment, a home, what was available, and it was hard to find something that they could afford that was a good fit, and they struggled really with it to help their daughter try to find a place to live. And as Margot tells the story, she just stopped at one point and said, there has to be a better way. Some support system, some way of doing this. And at about that same time, Habitat for Humanity affiliates were growing and getting traction throughout the country. And so Margot invited a Habitat for Humanity official from Georgia to attend a meeting at a church in this area. And from that, the local organization incorporated. Roughly half of the board initially were clergy or people from faith-based organizations and business people and others who said, we've got to do something to try to help families have a decent, affordable place to live. And that was the basis for it.
And then, so Habitat for Humanity Merrimack Valley was born.
Initially, it was initially called the Greater Lawrence Habitat for Humanity, but soon expanded to the entire Merrimack Valley. And since that time, we've built 82 homes.
Outstanding.
We have 14 more under construction right now.
Really?
And enough land in our pipeline for an additional 10 homes currently. So there's a lot of activity right now.
So within the next few years, I'm assuming, because I'm sure you have enough on your plate right now with all the other bills that you have going on. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
One of the really new concepts that's getting a lot of traction is the Veterans Build.
Right.
And across the country, there are several of them underway We're just starting our first one, and it'll be on Phillips Street here in Lawrence, and it'll be a duplex. So 2 veterans families will be selected through a process to purchase those homes. And it's important that everyone know that Habitat doesn't give away the homes. Right. There is a selection process that includes credit checks and background checks and courses for our candidate families to help them in budgeting and home ownership concepts. And they also help build the homes with sweat equity hours. So,
I think that's one of the
really
parts
important.
that I really, really like the most.
It's a hand up. It's not a handout.
Well, exactly, and I use that term constantly. And I think it just gives it more meaning. You know, once you start moving into that home, it just gives it that little bit more meaning that you know, had, you know, your hands on even putting a stud up or maybe some tiles up in your home. That's kind of, you know what I mean? That it just gives it a little bit of meaning. But before we go any further and talk about the Phillips and the Veterans initiative that you're taking, tell us a little bit about you, please. I want to know a little bit of you, how'd you got to become the executive director, what brought you to Habitat for Humanity, and what's the overall, well, you know, as an executive director, I know that you have a host of things that you're responsible for, but talk to us just briefly about yourself, please.
Well, if I'm going to talk about myself, we'll be here for 2 hours.
For 2 hours? Yeah. Well, we don't have 2 hours. Let me give you a warning now.
I won't take that long. You know, I've worked for nonprofit organizations for the past 38 years, 26 of those years as an executive director. So it's been a good feel. I spent a number of years working for the Boy Scout organization, and that was very gratifying. Habitat and I got together about 4 years ago. And I was hired as the executive director of the affiliate here in this area. We have a great board. The board of directors is very strong, very supportive.
How large is the board?
We have 15 people on the board. We'd like a few more. We're looking to reach out and add maybe 4 or 5 more board members. The
I can say it's a strong board.
It is a good board. Yeah. The cadre of volunteers that we have who are on the build sites are incredible people. They're very dedicated. Some of them 2 or 3 days a week. Some of them maybe just once a month or once a quarter. But they're all welcome, all skill levels, and they're great volunteers. And without that group of really dedicated volunteers on the sites, building, swinging hammers, power tools, doing what they do, it wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen. Yeah, and I'm a true believer. Those are your worker bees, and that's what makes this organization so great. And when you have volunteers from across Massachusetts at times, that come maybe even across the border, that come and help, and I've seen that quite a bit in other projects. So yeah, it's important for you all out there that you know, just do your research. There's always, I know that you're always in a rush to help other nonprofits that are not in Massachusetts, and some of them are really great organizations. But I always tell individuals that, you know, go to your city or go to the your region and see, because there's a lot of organizations out there that need help. So yeah, I'm a true believer that without the volunteers, you know, a lot of the stuff that we do nowadays just wouldn't be accomplished.
Habitat wouldn't exist without it. Yeah. Our families help build their own homes, and there's some great pictures of Roxana up in her attic rolling out insulation and
were you a recipient of the house?
Yes.
Well, before Roxana, please, it's Roxana Mota. She is the family service coordinator, and I'm sorry that we again, I told you guys, I gave you guys a warning. I'm long-winded, so cut me off or whatnot. So tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been here, and how you get to Habitat for Humanity. And if you like, please share how you became the recipient. How did that transformed? And here you are working for Habitat for Humanity today. Yeah. So that's like total success story right there.
Yes.
So tell me.
I found out about Habitat. I was living with my sister, and one flyer got in the house, and I didn't know, and I said, what is this? So I decided to call and apply, but I got the good news that I qualified, and they chose me for a house. That's how I started.
Really?
So I really like it. I work in the house.
What did you do in the house? I'm sorry. What did you do in the house specifically?
I did everything, from the basement to the attic. Well, the attic was a little bit difficult because I'm a little scared high. But I was putting siding, windows,
good for you.
Insulations, floors, painting. I did a lot of things.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry to cut you off. Didn't that have like so much more meaning when you moved in? When you moved in, didn't that mean more to you?
Yes.
That house was just a part of you because you helped construct that house.
Yes. When I went in the house, I was thinking, wow, I remember when I put this insulation here, and that was my room. I was supposed to insulate this better. Nice. So it was fun. I learned a lot.
Good for you.
Then I find out that Habitat for Humanity was looking for family service coordinator, and I apply. I pray before I went there, just
because there were other candidates, obviously,
yes.
that were applying to. Yeah,
yes.
It is. Yeah.
And I knew I can get the job because God was
blessed. You were blessed. Yeah, you were blessed.
And I got the job, and I really want to help family to find a way to find a house. I know how it feels when you are alone, when you're looking for a better place to live.
Exactly.
That's why I'm here. I'm trying to show. There was a lot of people that didn't know about Habitat.
Yeah.
And when I get there, I remember.
Very true.
I went to the radio. I went everywhere to put the flyer. Schools.
Yeah, to get the marketing going out, to get the advertisement going out there.
I was walking with the flyer in my hands, and every time I saw a family, I told them about Habitat. You can have this, and you can try. Because I got the opportunity, and I got what I needed at that time.
And the passion that you had, it just radiates.
It shows, doesn't it?
It does, because, well, you know, it's just a great story, because again, you were a family, right? That was a need, right?
Yes.
And you were selected. You went out there. You got your hands dirty, right? You got out there on your knees and laid towels or whatever it is. That happened. You moved into your home, right? That again is very meaningful. And then now you're out here giving back and paying it forward.
Yes.
So that to me is phenomenal, right? When you're able to not be able to just, all right, achieve your own goals, but based on your trials and tribulations and the knowledge that you acquire along the way, that is, to me, it's not meaningful if you're keeping it to yourself, right? You got to go out there and share it and say, this is what I did, right? And it worked for me. It worked for me. It could work for you. So it's phenomenal. I didn't know when we spoke in Jamie's office that you were a recipient of a home. So, I mean, I have more respect for you, even more. I did then, but I have more respect for you. And good for you. Congratulations on that. And congratulations on your success with Habitat for Humanity. So let's get into, again, real quick, a little bit more about Habitat Humanity and the affiliations. I mean, how many, I'm reading a little bit, you have over 2,100 affiliates, and so talk to me a little bit about that, because as an executive director, man, that's a lot of work to be able to coordinate all this, and I'm sure you have great workers that's Roseanne that be able to, you know, pick up some of the pieces for you when you're not there, but it's tough coordinating a lot of these contracts. I'm a contractor myself, and believe me, I know how difficult it is sometimes to be able to round up a bunch of guys or women to do work, have them there on time, make sure it's on budget, you know, make sure that safety is paramount on any of my jobs, and I'm sure it is for you as well. So tell me, I mean, the affiliates that you work with, talk to me a little bit about that. Well,
Habitat's a great organization. It has a strong brand.
It does.
Most people think about Jimmy Carter, who's a great spokesman for the organization with his tool belt, you know, on build sites, and we have a great staff here in the Merrimack Valley, and I mentioned the board already.
And where are you located again?
We're over on Island Street. Our office is in a mill
60
building.
Island?
60 Island Street. It's a small office there. We have a small warehouse of materials here in town, and then build sites, you know, where the action happens. And the 100 Parker Street build site, we're finishing up right now. I was just there today. I probably have some sawdust on my on my shoes or something. But
that's a sign of a working man.
Well, we have a lot of good people over there, and
how many contractors you guys have there that are volunteering there?
Well, several contractors volunteer, and some we have to pay. There are times when licensed work, permit work, you if you can't find it donated, you pay to have it done. But the volunteers do all the rest, and within the next month, we'll turn over the keys to 10 homes, to 10 families in that facility. It's the largest project we've ever attempted. It's been a handful. Is it
a multiple dwelling unit?
It is. It's an old convent that the Catholic Church sold to Habitat, and there was a lot of demo work that had to be done, a tremendous amount of architectural and all of that.
Yeah. Because that building is, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off.
That's
again.
all right.
If I do, please just stop me. Is that building considered like a historical building? So you could get, I mean, there's funds out there for that too, and I hope you tapped into that.
There were some questions about that, and the historic preservation money was an option, but we didn't pursue it aggressively because it didn't seem to be a good fit for what we were trying to accomplish at this particular building.
Okay, fair enough.
But a number of other grants, foundations, corporations, in fact, several businesses and corporations adopted one of the 10 homes that are in there and sent their people to do the work and pay for the supplies.
Outstanding.
It's just been an incredible collaboration. Some bumps along the way. The building's over 100 years old.
Yeah,
so
it's like anything else. Old buildings, you start opening up walls, and you're going to be opening up a can of worms. So
you really do.
That's just the way it is, you know.
It's beautiful.
When
you walk through there
it
now.
The structure overall is beautiful. That building, the overall structure is beautiful. And I know you guys did a few more work in the outside part of it, but that structure is beautiful.
It's great. And one of the things that was particularly gratifying, we've had a couple of veterans work days where veterans groups came in and worked on it.
Can you please tell me what veterans group were there to assist you?
Quite a number from across the state. Everything from VFW and American Legion posts that would chip in to statewide veterans organizations. We had a group from the Army Corps of Engineers come for a couple of days. Yeah.
Outstanding.
There's a really great organization in this area called the Veterans Northeast Outreach Center.
Yep, they're out of Haverhill.
They are, and they've helped us with it. And then just some individual veterans. You said you were a Marine.
Yep.
I heard a little bit earlier, and there's a video on our website about a veterans build that occurred there. And one of the Marines, in the group, he said, well, I'm modestly disabled now, you know, since I've come back home. But he said it's important for a Marine to have a mission.
Absolutely.
And he was there working. There you go.
I agree. I really, really do. I agree, because there's so many things that you're used to when you have your uniform on and your boots laced up, right?
Yep.
And it's constant. It's always a vision and a mission in front of you. And when we don't have that, we're like lost puppy dogs. You know, you're just rambling in circles, trying to find your way back. But the minute I give you a set of orders, and you're like locked, focused, and ready to go.
There you go.
So, yeah, definitely good to go. Good to go.
A couple of other really great projects in addition to Parker. I also heard you say that you're a graduate of the local vocational technical school.
I am.
I heard.
I am.
The Lawrence Regional Vocational Technical School has adopted duplex and is building it for us on Margin Street here in Lawrence. And so you can go to 40-50 Margin Street on any day of the week, and it's a beehive of activity over there.
Is it?
And it's instructors and kids from the Voc that are over there doing the work.
I remember when I was in the Voc not too long ago. But I excelled, and when it came down to shop week, and I think that one of the things that led me to continue my career in the construction field, I just had these great teachers that were so passionate. And I used to work a lot with the masonry. I used to do the fireplaces and chimneys and lay out the concrete floors and garages and stuff. And it started there. But I remember once a week, we used to go out to the field and be working in houses like this. Actually, houses that were going to be given to low income families. And it starts. And then the instructors, again, like I said, they're phenomenal. So every time I hear that organizations like yours are using these students, what you're doing is just, you know, you're giving these guys just hope that they listen. You know, a lot of people will be like, because college is not for everybody. Let's just say that right now. And I went to college and I dropped out of college, right? It just wasn't for me. And I became a master craftsman. And a lot of people don't know that as a master craftsman or a project manager, you know, you're talking six-figure salary to be running your own projects, right? So don't knock the construction field. So teach these kids. I love what you guys are doing and involving these kids right now. And I think that we talked briefly, and I know you haven't, they're not going to be participating with you all in this project, but the Youth Build is another organization here in the city of Lawrence that is a phenomenal organization. I mean, they really have some sharp kids, and that's what it's all about, really. If we could get involved, the community and kids involved, that's just phenomenal. Who else besides Greater Lawrence Vocational Technical High School is going to be involved in that Margin Street project? Any other school? I know there's Whittier Tech and other schools that
we've had partnerships from some funders. Eastern Bank made a leadership gift to help do it. TD Bank has been involved in the construction of it. Eastern was helping us with the actual acquisition of the land. The City of Lawrence Community Development Department helped us on it also.
Jim Barnes, director.
Jim's outstanding. He's a great friend.
Yes, without a doubt. His whole staff.
His whole staff is great. And
awesome.
And Jim worked with us on land acquisition there. And on any given day or weekend, Habitat will have church groups, veterans groups, businesses. Sometimes a business wants to take a day and have their employees go to a build site and do some team building, and roll up their sleeves, you know, and you'll see business people there who didn't know they could use a nail gun or a a power tool or something.
Yeah, once they use it, they hook.
They want to come back.
That's
right. They love it.
Yeah, I make up any excuses to hang out at Home Depot. So, and give me a nail gun, I'm good to go.
There you go.
My question is that, and again, as I'm going back as a contractor and putting not as your host right now, I'm thinking the contractor mind, and when there's so many variables involved in a construction site. And talk to me, who's the man that just keeps that all together? Because it's not easy. It's not easy, and I'm sure it has to be a guy that's very well diverse in all the trades, really. And one of the things is coordinating. You know, that's the hardest part, because you're constantly getting volunteers calling you or maybe calling you at the last minute that, hey, we got some spare time. So how do you manage that?
We do have a full-time construction director. And he's delegating constantly and watching. There's a risk management element to that. Hey, off the ladder, you know, that's not your assignment, or, you know, you name it.
Exactly.
But he's making sure that we fit square pegs into square holes and round pegs into round holes when it comes to what volunteers can do. Because some people don't like scaffolding or ladders. Some don't want a power tool.
Exactly.
You know, there are certain things that people want to do.
Liability and safety.
It's an issue.
I mean, safety is paramount. Yeah.
And so on a build site, we have also at least one volunteer supervisor. You can always spot them because they're wearing an orange outfit, so that they can be spotted easily. And somebody has a question, just go to the person that's in the
reflector.
That's right.
Yeah.
And typically anywhere from 40 to 50 or 60 volunteers at times on site, which is a lot to manage.
Wow.
So we try to make sure people are assigned to tasks that they'll find gratifying or that they want to learn more about.
Sure.
So that when they leave there, if they've never done drywall or putting down flooring or certain things in the past, if they want to learn about that, then now's the time to do it.
40 or 50 people in a work site, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of hard hats, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I get like 20 at my job site, and I'm like...
That's still full, that's a lot, yeah.
I mean,
but we try to spread them out, and you know, some people, they want to grab a rake or a mower or a shovel.
Right, because it's the land work you got to do.
That's all they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all they're comfortable initially in doing. So our construction director is very good at assigning people to positions that they're qualified to or want to do. And then we manage it. They get a lunch break. They go back to work again.
Lunch break?
Yeah.
Man,
you don't allow lunch breaks for your people?
Well, they ate yesterday, so that's what I look at it. You ate the day before. You ate today. No, just kidding.
I know.
No kidding. I actually spoil my guys. I actually, when I have the opportunity to go and survey the job, I'm buying them lunch, and you know, because again, they're my workforce. They're making me look good. You know, all I do is go and bark orders. You know what I mean? And, and you know, take care of the logistics side of it. And when I have time, I get my hands dirty. But the stuff that we do, I mean, you can't be everywhere one place. But I'm a true believer that you know, what makes your company great is your workforce.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And so my thing is, and especially I have. You know, we have a certain man hours and man days that we go by, and if my supervisor, you know, runs that project and it's below the mandates, I split it with the guys, you know, because that's unexpected money for me anyway. So we'll take the mandates, we'll split it in half, we'll give it to the supervisor, make sure he disseminates around the guys, and then we'll take the other one and put it into capital. But yeah, I believe in two first. I want to ask you a question, and I'm sorry before we go over that. So did you take some of the nail guns and climb up the ladders and did all that stuff? I'm just curious because you're a homeowner that went there, so I'm just curious because he was talking about it.
The only thing I didn't touch was the gun.
Oh, you that nail gun? Okay.
Oh my God! But I did a little bit of everything. That was a training for me.
Good for you, and that's good, right? Because now you're in the house. If you have minor repairs.
Yes.
You can take care of it real quick.
Yes.
There's a great story that Roxana's daughters wanted unusual paint design schemes in their bedrooms.
Yes.
And apparently you got involved in helping to make sure that when they moved in, their bedrooms were painted up just the way they envisioned, right?
Yes, we try to paint each room different.
Yeah,
my
good.
daughter liked different colors.
Yeah.
And she did it, and she did a great job because
She did it herself?
Yes.
Nice.
With the help of my niece.
Her sisters or, yeah, nieces, yeah.
And
Nice.
I got one room that I was supposed to paint it the way my daughter wanted, with circles and everything, but I didn't do a very good job. And he's laughing because everybody knew that it wasn't that good, but at the end...
She appreciated it, sure, right?
At the end, I fixed it.
You fixed it? Okay, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, to see moments like that is just phenomenal to me, you know what I mean? That people get up there and try something new.
Yeah,
my daughter's the exact same way. You know, I try to teach my daughter a little bit of everything because we're here obviously to teach them survival skills. I'll let the college that I'm paying for to educate them, and I'll teach you life skills, right? So that's just phenomenal. You know, your daughter up there just went up there, painted a room, and now she's there, right?
Yes.
It's phenomenal, yeah. So listen, we don't have much time, but we're going to go ahead and come back for a second segment. We're going to get into more of the actual initiative that's taking place in the city of Lawrence. More specifically, I think is the Phillips Street.
Phillips Street Veterans Build.
Yeah, and there's a couple of actual other organizations that actually are involved in this, and one of them is actually the Veterans North Outreach Center that we're able to purchase the land from them, so we're going to talk about that as well. So please, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.